All right. So for today, our topic is favorite childhood cartoons. It could be any cartoon you watched or enjoyed watching growing up. So from Cartoon Network to Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, I guess any channel, even PBS with like Arthur and all those shows. But yeah, anything you enjoyed or really liked watching when you were a child. And for me, I think.
Wait, sorry, I have a question.
What's your question?
When you're saying childhood, are you putting a cutoff? Like what, like up until?
I would say like up until middle school, high school. That's actually a
Okay,
big range. Up until high school, I'll give you that.
okay,
Oh, okay.
cool. All right, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you should be sorry. I said that my favorite. Uh, I put it on Codenames Kid Next Door. Was as my favorite. A
Go
great
on.
show. Um, I don't know. I just liked the variety of characters that they had, and they really like developed a lot of their characters, like all the numbers, and then even like the other like kids from other like I don't know companies or what not companies, just like
Regions.
regions. Yeah,
Tree houses.
the other tree houses, and like the development and the intermingling and like the whole like global view of all the things happening. I don't know. I just enjoyed the complexity of the show, and it was pretty fun to watch.
Is there a particularly memorable episode?
Memorable. I wouldn't say there's a particular one, but I liked the action. I liked the gadgets and gizmos and all the fancy
The 2x4 technology.
the way they integrated like literally anything into a fancy gadget, like their guns and their shoes and their jetpacks and whatnot. It could be anything, and it just makes sense. I don't know how they did it, but it was
Do
good.
you have a favorite character?
Baldy, number one.
Number
Number
one.
uno.
Number one. He's my favorite character. Close second, I would say number four.
Wait, did number one wear red?
Red like
Yep.
sweater with the black with the glasses, the
Was
shades.
he always like pointing like this or something?
Yeah. But I think he did this one
Oh,
with the
okay.
two hands, the number
Did
one.
he have like a Stewie Griffin kind of face? Like really?
Yeah,
like-
yeah. It was like
Yeah, he did.
it's an oval. Yeah. It was yeah. The characters were good.
There was like Asian chick. Was she like number 3? Or something?
I-
She
Diversity.
was number 3.
Also a big part of the show. Very
Was it like fat dude? Maybe number 2.
He was number 2. Yep.
Number
Number
two.
4 was the blonde dumb one.
yeah, he
Uh,
wasn't dumb.
He was
just,
dumb.
And he also had like
his
no.
his hair covered his
Covered
face,
his eyes.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
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 did he wear orange?
He wore orange,
He
yes.
did.
Okay.
And then there was number 5.
The sassy chick.
Yeah.
Sassy black chick.
Probably the most responsible one.
True. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Yo, did you like the movie with number 0? Do you remember that?
I remember number 0. I just don't remember who number 0 was. Was number 0 number 1 at some point, or was I
No, it was number 1's dad.
number 1? Okay, then yeah, I can't remember.
It was a lit movie. I enjoyed it.
I have to rewatch now.
Yeah, have you
Cartoon
been able to
Network.
watch it?
Would you?
Have you been able to? Like, is it anywhere? I don't really know where you could find it.
I know it's on Amazon Prime. I've seen
Is
it
it?
there.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh, good thing I have Prime.
But I guess you haven't
Wait.
watched it then.
Was it?
No,
No,
I
I do remember seeing it. Oh, I can't remember if it was free or if it was paid, actually. So you may have to double check that. I do remember seeing the show on there, though.
Mm.
That was a Cartoon Network show, I want to say.
Yes, it is Cartoon Network.
It was.
Cartoon Network had some good shows. Billy and Mandy, Courage,
Oh, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
yeah,
That's
Johnny,
good.
all the Dexter's Laboratory.
Wait, so was there like a Reaper in Billy and Mandy? Like a Grim
Grim?
Reaper?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was, yeah.
Okay. You know, I feel like, I don't know, that one and also Courage the Cowardly Dog, they're like kind of scary.
Yeah, 'cause Courage gave me nightmares. 100%.
Yeah, no, Courage was scary.
I
Grim
had
Adventures of Billy and
nightmares.
Mandy, I don't think was very scary. Like, it was more
You think so?
funny. Like,
Yeah, it was more
Courage
funny.
Yeah, Courage was just
Courage was
creepy.
spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky, scary. The old guy without the teeth, Eustace, that guy gave me nightmares. Oh my god.
Isn't he
That-
just
that
like a
shit
good
was
guy
crazy.
though? He's just like the grandpa, right?
No, but he's pretty
Oh,
cranky.
heck no.
That dude's
I wouldn't call him a
cranky.
good guy. He's like the counterproductive civilian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
I don't
He was a
remember.
goon.
Just like Courage lived with these two old people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Muriel.
Muriel?
Oh, maybe it
Yeah.
was. I think it was Muriel. Or it
Yeah,
might-
Muriel and you.
Or maybe it was Miriam. I don't
This,
remember.
I think you're correct. But yeah, Cartoon Network, good shows. That's it for me. Who wants to go next?
I am gonna put up Tom and Jerry
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
because
I watched a
and-
fair share of Tom and Jerry as a kid. Yeah.
and kind of when I was younger watching it, it was just like I had a couple like tapes at home, like I would just cycle through them. Tom and Jerry was part of the cycle, and I would just watch it again. And I don't know. I feel like as a kid watching it, it was very simple, and it was enjoyable for that simpleness. Looking back on it now, it feels kind of like there are some things that people might find objectionable. It's like I remember that episode. It was the Thanksgiving episode where they basically tried to parody the whole how the what's it the
Pilgrims.
yes, interacted with the Native Americans and how that went down. That was pretty funny. I actually thought that's how it went down for a while.
Educational. Man.
Right. But the other thing that really stood out to me was the whole violent nature of the show, right? Like, really, it's just in repeated instances, Tom going after Jerry. And Jerry is no slouch either. Like, Jerry is actually, most times, in my opinion, much more violent than Tom is. Because Tom might want to be violent, but he's bad. So he fails most of the time and just gets hurt himself, right? But like, then Jerry goes and just destroys Tom. And I guess the thing that always struck me as odd is for folks who complain like young children, if they're exposed to like really violent stimulus, that they turn out to be violent themselves. Like I don't know. I feel like, well, actually, I just looking at Tom and Jerry, it's like that kind of cartoonish comical violence. I almost feel like it does the opposite. It makes violence almost like surreal, and like it just doesn't seem like something that I don't know.
You could like latch onto, I guess, or like make real. I don't know.
It's just because it makes it so ridiculous sometimes. Like I feel like I'd be hard pressed to expect a kid to actually try to emulate that. Like that whole if the iron falls on Tom's face, his face turns into the shape of iron. Like that sort of thing. Like people understand that that's not how things work, right? Like you got to give kids that much credit, right? So it's kind of like, I always found it kind of unfortunate that some people just kind of look at, oh, why do kids watch these things? It's bad influence. I'm just like, it's a great show. They managed to make the same old theme of a cat chasing a mouse, just refreshing every time you watch it. Like it's pretty hard to do if you think about it, right? Like to make that same concept go over and over again, and then you can find something new in each episode.
That is true.
Good pick. Classic.
A classic for sure. Was there like any new Tom and Jerry episodes when we were young, or were they just rerunning the old ones? I'm pretty sure there was like it was
I
aired
think
a
they're
long time
still
ago.
coming out with new ones because I read up on kind of the IP of this, like who owns it now. But I popped open a couple episodes. And I looked at it, it's like, it's so lame. Like there's no violence. it's just like all off screen now. It's just kind of like Tom goes to like chase Jerry, and then they just stop in the middle, and then like Jerry says something, Tom looks away, and then Jerry, like, there's like no action anymore.
Oh.
Like it just like there's the essence of the show has disappeared.
So
And
you
now there's
crave
like
that violence, huh?
the best thing though was just I felt like how universal it was. Like there's virtually no talking in the show, right? Like
Mhm.
you just
Yeah.
watch and you understand, and there's no
They're screaming though.
yeah. Now there's all this like plot and like this
Ugh.
guy says this, and it's just kind of like that's just a different show now, right? Tom and Jerry in my mind is just the universality of like a cat chasing a mouse. Everyone who looks at it can appreciate what's going on, and they do a spectacular job of making it entertaining.
I remember the iconic Tom scream when he like something falls on him. The I don't know, I can't do it, but it's
too high pitched.
It's too high pitched, yeah, but it's so iconic. I can hear it in the back of my mind when I just like think about it.
I
It's
can
so
just
funny.
imagine someone on like whatever, like some kind of soundboard, just like clicking the button,
Yeah.
making that sound.
And it's like a laughing, screaming, crying noise. It's so funny. Oh my
My favorite episode, though, was actually the one where Tom and Jerry work together, because like they put both of their violent tendencies together to take care of the three invading triplet cats. So the way that episode worked,
I
was
remember that.
there's the owner of Tom, right? She like adopts three kittens, right? Because they look adorable, but they're actually like little rascals. And as soon as the lady leaves, right, they like punch Tom, take his milk, and like just destroy him. Right? At first, Jerry was like, "Yo, let's go, let's team up." It's like, "Who you? Who this?" Bam, slap. And Jerry gets destroyed. So then they team up, and like my favorite scene in that was when somehow they designed this like plane out of like a serving tray, and so it has two weapons. One is like a stack of pies on the serving tray, so they used an elastic band to launch the tray into the air, right? So he's flying around, Tom is flying around in the house, and then he lobs the three pies and like gets 3 headshots in one go. Then he does another lap, and then he lets loose the watermelon that was underneath, right? And then it just flies at the kittens, and for some reason they wanted to run in a line, right? So the first 2 kittens duck, the last one just like and then it just fills them up. He turns into like a watermelon shaped. So it's just kind of
Oh, I
crazy.
see.
Like he just eats it, right? It's kind of crazy,
watermelon shit.
but like
Are
it's
you
really
usually
a lot of fun.
Of slapstick humor, would you say?
Slapstick humor.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking like Charlie Chaplin. You're like physical humor, like
I think
Flipping on a
that's the
banana.
term they use, right? Slapstick.
yeah. It's like humor like, oh, he just he got a pie thrown in his face or something. I don't know. Oh yeah. he
So
slipped
it's
on a
very
banana.
visual. So like it's very suitable for young children,
Mhm.
right? Rather than too much of that witty stuff, which now is just kind of like so toned down.
And do you think like have cartoons shifted away from like slapstick stuff, like that visual humor, and more towards like witty stuff, and you find a problem with that?
I think it's just a completely different feeling, right? Like, I really appreciated the kind of the visual nature of
Mhm.
things rather than the oral nature of that show. That's definitely something that stood out, right? Like
Mhm.
the thing with, like, we were talking about courage earlier, right? Like that was another thing that to me is kind of like, I think it did a good job of mixing the two, but certainly the visual component also contributed to the scare aspect of it, right? Some of the
Definitely.
monsters and villains in there were just really
Yeah, the
like
way
in
they're
your face
drawn,
creepy. right?
also creepy.
I was watching another video talking about why they took the show. Did it take the show down? Like how it concluded, right? Like what after when it stopped airing? Like
Mhm.
I think there were some complaints about how like this is just way too
Mhm.
creepy to be on like a kids channel show, right? And it's just I feel like, it's a unique type of, not even type of, it was just a unique cartoon, right? And so like, this trend of trying to like make cartoons conform, I think you lose out on a lot of creativity in that process.
All right. Nice show. All right, I'm gonna go next.
Wait, sorry, Ozzy. I have another question for Uche.
Okay.
Are we counting anime?
Did you watch anime when you were? Yeah, that counts.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So I'm gonna go, or did you want to go, Melis?
You can go. I just wanted to ask the question.
So yeah, I watched a lot of TV as a kid, like a lot. I feel like it was my main pastime. So
Same.
like I can just rattle off like all the different shows that I watched. Like I just feel like they all deserve a mention because they are all really like relevant in my life. So like I watched a lot of Saturday morning like Pokemon. There's Shaolin Showdown. There was Digimon too, and like I watched The Simpsons and Family Guy, and, like Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, and I mean all those like. I also Codenames Kid Next Door and like Courage the Cowardly Dog. There was like Ben 10. There was I think there was like a teenage robot show or something. And I think I even watched like Powerpuff Girls. Like sometimes.
J9.
That was J9.
J9?
J9 was the Jenny the robot
Yeah.
on Nickelodeon. Yeah.
She was like blue and white, right? And then also like
Correct.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I remember.
Blue.
Like,
yeah, that show's good too.
Blue Regard Kazoo.
But yeah, so I just, I think they all deserve a mention because I watched like a lot of, I mean, I also watched like SpongeBob too. I even forgot about that. I actually watched an episode of SpongeBob a couple days ago. But anyway, the show that I want to like talk about though, which I feel like really sort of like opened up the world of cartoons for me was Yu-Gi-Oh! And this was like sort of like consistent with that like, phase I had about Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. We talked about in the last, or I guess the episode about like childhood toys and games. Like not only was I really into the cards, I was really into the show. And I think I was into the show first, and then I like started getting into the cards. And I liked having cards that were like in the show, obviously, but those are always like the really rare cards. But yeah, I think I remember watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Like one Sunday morning, or Saturday morning. I forget. Is it Saturday morning cartoons or Sunday morning cartoons?
I think it was Saturday morning.
Yeah, I think it's Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Was always like the last in the lineup. So like, I don't know, I would like wake up at like 10 or 11 and Yu-Gi-Oh! Would be on. But then I realized that there were so many other shows before Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, and they started at like 7. And so then like at one point I was waking up at 7 on Saturday mornings to watch TV for like 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, so like I would have like my mom wake me up Saturday mornings just like to watch Saturday morning cartoons. But yeah, I remember like Yu-Gi-Oh! Was sort of like that first one where like, oh, this is a really cool show. I really like this. I mean, who were the characters? There's Yu-Gi-Oh! There was Joey, his name, his friend. Yep. And then
with the Jersey accent or what a New York accent, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I feel like though, like as far as like quality of the show, I don't think it was actually as good as some of the other ones like that were in that lineup, but I just remember that was sort of like the first one. And like I just have like a fond connection to it for that reason. And I even remember like reading reviews about these shows, which is something I even do now. I like love reading, like I watch an episode of television or even a movie and I love reading about it afterwards, like just seeing what people have to say about it and all that. And I remember there was like a magazine at this like local Barnes and Noble that I would like always be at with like my parents or something. And they would have like reviews for the different TV shows. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Was one of them. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Would always get the worst reviews.
Yikes.
And always be like 2 stars or something. And like I think it was like out of 5.
Wait, 2 what?
2 stars. 2 stars out of 5. And then like they would also rate like the Pokemon episode, which would always be 4 or 5 out of 5. And I even remember at one point they like changed the scale for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Episodes to be like out of 3 because there's just no way that they would ever give an episode more than 3 stars because all these episodes.
Wow. Oh my god.
No, but I always like I would always watch all the shows. Like it would always lead up to Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember because that was like sort of the main event for me because I was like, I don't know, it was always like the last one and just the one that I was watching for the longest time. But yeah, I don't know. I think the plot is like repetitive. Like it's sort of like the same deal over and over again. Um, yeah, I don't know if you guys remember. There was this one, I think, like side storyline that I thought was really cool. They like instead of like playing cards and they like had monsters, they like rolled dice, and then these
Yep, dungeon
like,
dice monsters.
unfolded, and then like the monsters like there's like a grid, right? And you like put a dice down, and then
Yep.
the cube unfolds, and then like there's like a little spot like on the grid where like this cube was, and like your monsters would like fight on that part. I don't know. I thought that was really good. That was like early Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think it was like before it started getting really shitty reviews.
My
Well,
issue
like-
with that show was I was really hyped about it at the beginning, and then I went to buy cards. And like at first I would just get like the basic cards, right? And they were basic. I didn't really pay attention. So I would keep looking for those like, the featured cards,
The
that
Dark
like,
Magicians, the Blue Eyes
that
White
played
Dragons.
a major role in a particular like situation, right?
Yeah.
And then I would get the card and I'd be super excited. And then I would read the card and it would say something completely different. Like it just didn't do what it said it did in the show. Right? And I was just like, so that's why this guy keeps winning. He's hacking. He's literally hacking.
Actually,
He's literally hacking. That's not fair. Right? I have the same damn card and it doesn't do what you said it does.
Yeah.
Right? Because like I'd play at school, right? There were a couple other friends who also played this game, right? And then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna use this card to do this. And no, that's not what it does. It's like, yeah, that's what it did in the show. It's like, read the card. That's not what it does. And I'm like, what? Because I thought like I could win that way. I got so upset with that show that I stopped watching because I was just like,
Yeah.
no more lies. That's it.
more
No more
lies. Kevin's been scarred.
Yeah, I think.
Scarred.
Oh, one really salient part of the show for me was the idea of the heart of the cards. Like this idea that like,
What did you say? What were your thoughts on it?
like the idea that like I said it was just really like salient. Like when I think back to
Okay.
the show, like that was like a really big part of it, right?
Right,
If
absolutely.
you just believe in the heart of the cards,
You're
draw
gonna get it.
Which is like, I don't know. Is that sort of like
It's like the power
Nah,
of
the
friendship type
lies.
deal, right?
blame
No, the
More
requirement
lies.
is you have to be the main character. That's it. If you're not the main character, you don't get it.
like I just shows, I feel like I don't know, there's always this idea that like maybe they should teach you something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, sometimes you don't want shows to be preachy and all, but like sometimes there's stuff like they teach you lessons about like family values and things like that. And
It's
now I'm
like
trying to
believe
think
in yourself, right? That's basically the gist of it.
of believing in the heart of the cards.
Is basically believing in yourself, right? Because the cards are basically you.
Oh,
These days, we
Think
call
about it.
RNG.
I don't know if that's what they were going
I just
for,
don't.
but
I don't.
I
see
think
myself
so.
in
it
the
was
card.
more like the cards like actually have like they're not inanimate objects.
Yeah.
See,
They're
if you believe in
actual
them,
things.
they'll believe
And
in you.
Yugi was someone that actually, like believed in this like connection with these, like that the cards weren't just cards. They're like,
Isn't that why he was the
actual
only
things.
one that won? Like, because of that, he was the only one that kept winning. Everyone else would just lose except for him.
I'm pretty
Essentially.
sure it's just everyone else didn't read the cards. He just said they did whatever they
Yeah,
needed.
hey,
them
the
to
only,
do.
the only person
And then he
that's
just
beaten
won.
the only person that's beaten them is himself.
I feel like every card he drew just won him games. He was like, I don't have to read this. I know what it does. Win game. Kill the opponent. That's basically all he does, I think.
Yeah.
But
I'm guessing you never watched any of the, I guess, the offshoots.
I don't think so.
like
I might have.
GX and all that.
Yeah,
Nope.
I've forgotten.
yeah. I watched the GX, and then everything after that, I didn't. There's been like 5 more offshoots after
Oh,
the
yeah.
original.
Like Beyblade.
Well, that's not an offshoot. That has nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh.
I know, I was just saying
Okay.
it. It sounds fun. Beyblade.
Yeah. Saturday morning cartoons though. That was
Is that on the WB?
I
It
watched it on
was.
the WB. That's right.
It was a W.
That channel was always hopping, dude.
Yeah, when
Shaolin
you were-
Showdown on Saturday mornings were like highlights for me.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, when you were
So
talking about waking up, I actually remember that. Except like My mom did wake. I actually just woke up, and then my mom would get up. She's like, "Why are you waking up in the morning just to watch cartoons?"
Yeah, she'd make me do
Go
chores. I'm
do
like, wait,
something.
what do you mean? She's like, go clean the bathroom. I'm like, no, but the WB, the
Like,
Shaolin
literally
Showdown.
everyone else in my house is sleeping, and
Oh
I
my
somehow
goodness.
got up to watch these cartoons.
It's
at
like
7
cleaning your room,
Yeah.
but it's on. They're fighting. I can't miss Jake Long.
I do think my parents liked that, like, it got me to bed on time because, like, I would be very excited, like, the night before. I have to go to bed early so I can watch these shows. Yeah. So, like, parents are like, okay, sure. I mean, this is, I guess, you know, enforcing good habits, I suppose. We'll enable this. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yu-Gi-Oh! That's the answer for me.
Good pick.
I actually don't remember if I remember I don't ever remember seeing the beginning of the show. Like I definitely feel like I played the card game before I at least had seen the beginning. Like I feel like I started the show somewhere in the middle because you know this is back when you know you can't stream stuff. I think it probably just came on TV and I started watching on a random episode.
Yeah.
And I remember going back. It's probably in maybe it was early high school. I decided, yo, let me go back and watch Yu-Gi-Oh! And I watched it from the beginning, and I was really shocked because one of the rules that's pretty standard is like usually you can't summon really strong monsters without some kind of requirement. Like you have to sacrifice a weaker one. And like at the beginning of the show, these characters are just throwing down like blue eyes white dragons like it's nothing. Like they just play the card. I'm like, what? What is happening?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, yeah, I never actually like played the cards.
Yeah, you told me last time you just collected
Yeah.
them.
I just collected them, and so yeah, and the show, I guess all those little details and complexities, and you know, even like the actual rules of the card, I guess were just they didn't contribute to the story, maybe. Yeah, maybe they found them unnecessary. Yeah, I remember it was. I don't know. I mean, it was like the Exodia thing, right? You just draw them all and then you win.
Oh, but that's an actual rule though. So
Yeah.
that,
You
I
just
think that's
draw
pretty
them and you
consistent.
win. Why
Yeah,
doesn't
if you-
everyone just play that deck then?
Well, I mean, there's
It's
not. It's
super
not
rare,
guaranteed
right?
you're gonna draw those 5 cards in time that like you know.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
play
It's
a
like
deck where you
OTK
have
decks
those
and
5
Hearthstone,
cards
right?
and then just like have survivability. Simple.
Well, yeah, that's
Just
what
play
that's what people.
defense.
That's what people will do.
Oh, then how do they lose?
I mean, it
It's not
depends. There's a lot of factors. they're not. I don't think Exodia is even. Actually, I don't know if it's ranked the strongest, but I know in tournaments they're usually banned.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like
that's-
OTK decks and Hearthstone, right? Like you just gotta like rush them down before they draw everything. So same deal.
All right.
All right, who's up
Justin,
next?
did you want to?
Sure.
I'm still thinking.
I mean, I'll give an obvious answer. SpongeBob.
You was gonna say that?
Seasons 1 through 3. Seasons 1 through 3, some of the greatest TV of all time, easily. Yeah, I was like a Nickelodeon kid, so I was exclusively in Nickelodeon's like environment. So I watched all those cartoons. I mean, Osmond, you mentioned a bunch of them, like everything from like Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom. To,
Oh, that one.
I remember even some of the older ones like Hey Arnold and Invader Zim.
Great shows.
There were some, yeah, they used to play some really old cartoons like Doug. Yeah, and then, you know, Jimmy Neutron and all of that. Yeah,
Yo, Cat
I love
Dog.
Nickelodeon. And I don't really know why I didn't try the other channels. Obviously I had cable, so I had Cartoon Network and all the other alternatives, but I was always on Nickelodeon.
I always remembered that like Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Disney were adjacent channels.
Yep.
Like-
Yeah, they were all really close to each other. I don't know. I never found the stuff on Cartoon Network appealing, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I think what I liked about SpongeBob was that it was like very like ironic humor. I don't know. I feel like it was like a good predecessor for a lot of the youth culture now, you know, the weird in jokes and like sort of high-minded puns and stuff like that. You know, it's like a different kind of humor. It's like an alternative to maybe slapstick of older cartoons like Tom and Jerry, if you want to go back that far.
But even SpongeBob, I would say, like had that kind of slapstick humor. Which
I mean, it
think
definitely
made it
did.
Great. Like it
But-
appealed to a lot of audiences.
Yeah, it did. Which is part of its appeal, but it also like had these like bizarre storylines that like were so diverse, and each episode was just this crazy adventure, right? That I don't know. There was always like meat to it. It wasn't like completely mindless. It was mostly mindless, but yeah.
You have a
Great
favorite
writing.
episode?
Mindlessness.
I really liked the Krusty Krab training video.
Yes.
I would have said that was my favorite episode when I was a kid, just because I don't know the
I
like.
think, did we rewatch that in college?
Absolutely.
I feel like we did, yeah.
I think we did.
That was just such a good episode. I don't know, the entire like narrator and the ending with the da 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 da.
Is that where they taught him how to build a burger?
Yeah.
It was where they were going to introduce like the secret formula, right? And then it like cut off at the very end.
Yeah. There's
I
all
don't know,
this
it was just
prep you
something
have to
so.
do.
It was just so smart. I don't know. It was like a parody of a training video, and it worked so well. Yeah. So SpongeBob was great. What other episode am I thinking of? I feel like it was the one where they go with.
What about the pizza?
Oh, the pizza
That's
is
a classic.
iconic. Is a
Yeah.
classic one for
Yeah.
me.
No. The
In
episode
the
where
treehouse.
they get what is it? Kidnapped by who's the pirate? The pirate, ghost
Oh,
pirate.
the Flying
Davy
Dutchman.
The
Jones.
Flying
oh.
Dutchman. That's right.
Davy
And like
Jones.
they're I can't remember the exact context, but they have to like go around with him on a ship for an entire episode.
Doesn't Patrick try and someone drives a boat, right? And they drive
Yeah.
it through like a very narrow valley. And he scrapes the entire side of. Oh my goodness! I cringed watching that. That was
and the,
painful to watch.
the howling.
Oh,
Wait, driving the boat. Which one was that?
The Flying Dutchman episode. They
Yeah.
like go with him.
Then-
I can't remember why they went with him.
I think they were
Like-
holding him hostage, or someone was getting held hostage. I think.
They
Yeah.
were. I think. I don't know. I feel like they were in his debt for some reason, and like
Or
that's why
something.
he
Yeah.
said, "Oh, now you have to join my ghostly crew like for an eternity." And I think they annoyed him so much. He's like, you know what?
That's
you
right.
can leave.
That was it. Yeah, no, that show had some really smart writing. I feel like I'm watching The Simpsons now from the beginning.
What?
Slowly. I'm on season 3, and I'm gonna make it
On
through
Disney
season 10.
Plus,
at
right?
least. Yeah, on Disney Plus. And I feel like I see a lot of parallels between. There's some parallels between The Simpsons and SpongeBob. Obviously, SpongeBob is like kid friendly, but like the way that the episodes are structured and the way the jokes are, it kind of reminds me.
The main characters are yellow.
Defy the laws of physics. Yeah.
Yellow. Huh?
SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the SpongeBob movie?
I did. It was good. You know, I think it was like the last great SpongeBob episode in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it was. I know people call it the moment the show like jumped the shark, and you know season 4 and on was like pretty bad. But yeah, I think the movie stayed true to the original seasons because Steven Hillenburg was still on the movie, and then he left.
Is
after
SpongeBob
that.
still coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah. that's
Really?
weird.
I feel like we would have heard about it if it had ended.
I just don't hear about it at all. So I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's still going on.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Even Hellenberg, that's his name, right?
Yeah. Steven Hillenburg, who
Since you
died.
brought up
you know.
SpongeBob. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
wanted to mention that I had a very different, unique relationship with that show in the sense that after I watched the first episode, I was like, this show is so dumb. and then like I was telling my parents about it, and they're
Oh,
like, what do you
goodness.
expect? All those shows are dumb. And
They are.
I didn't actually take him at his word because I said, surely I know there were some cartoons I liked, right? So
Mhm.
I just internalize it as all the shows on Nickelodeon are dumb.
That's kind of
I
accurate,
never
though.
watched Nickelodeon.
What, Fairly
all- it
Odd
was-
Parents? You think that was dumb?
Fairly Odd Parents was
so
dumb
I
as fuck.
didn't give them a second thought. Like they were on Nickelodeon, they were stupid shows. Like
Oh my goodness.
you know,
I mean, I
we were
can't
talking
argue
about
with
how
it.
the 3 channels, right? Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon, right? They were all right next to each other. For me, Nickelodeon was that channel in the middle that I would always skip over to get to the next one.
That's actually true. Like it was always
What's wrong
between
with
Disney
y'all?
and Cartoon
No.
Network.
That's
how it was for
unacceptable.
me.
That's unacceptable.
It's like they'd have 3 channels that I just skip over, all Nickelodeon. It's like I
Oh
don't
my
want to watch
God.
this.
So that, like, as I got older, and my brother was, you know, getting into the age where he first started watching cartoons, right? or like on TV by himself, right? And he kind of had like a blank slate and it's like, oh, I'll just watch whatever looks cool, right? So some of the shows that I liked had already passed and I didn't really tell him like, you should watch this or that, right? So when he got to Nickelodeon, he didn't like SpongeBob that much, but he really latched onto Avatar. Right. And he says, oh, this is a great show. I'm like, what do you mean it's a great show? It's on Nickelodeon. It must be garbage.
I mean, to be fair, Avatar was like a huge diversion from the rest of Nickelodeon. Like, I feel like there's nothing else in Nickelodeon was like Avatar.
Yeah,
It was
so
way more mature.
the first time I actually watched the show like fully was actually in university with y'all. And I was like, whoa, this is a pretty good show. It was on Nickelodeon? What? So like, and the funny thing is it really all just stemmed from that first SpongeBob episode I watched. I don't even remember what it was about. I think Patrick was in there. That was probably what did it in for me. Like Patrick is like, what is this character? What an idiot.
What is this thumb doing in this cartoon? Why is there a living
So,
thumb in this
like,
cartoon?
just completely closed off Nickelodeon for me. So I'm just like, this is a show for scrubs, like, or this is a channel for scrubs rather. So
Yeah, I mean, was it really any different from the other cartoons? I watched Phineas and Ferb. Like Adriana and I watched like a season recently.
What?
'cause it's on
Phineas and
Disney
Ferb was
Plus.
good.
Yeah, but
I
it's
think
dumb.
Disney
It's like it's the same plot every episode. Like they don't change it at all.
I can't really compare because like by the time I saw any of that show, the Phineas and Ferb one, I was like, I'd moved past that like phase of just receiving. Like I thought about it more, I guess. Like it's a different me. Like I just don't think I can
Sure,
compare. Right. As far as like, are any of the shows like intelligent? I didn't watch things just for, like I said, I really enjoyed Tom and Jerry. I didn't think it was necessarily a smart show, but for some reason, SpongeBob just stood out to me as being exceptionally dumb. Now, I don't know when seasons 1 through 3 like aired. You seem to have much better things to say about that than the subsequent ones. So maybe the first episode of SpongeBob I watched started in season 4. Maybe that's why. Maybe I would have enjoyed season 1 to 3. I have no idea which episode that was, but like, it's surprising that, well, I thought it was really interesting to hear you kind of talk about SpongeBob and how you saw it and how, that played a role in what you watched. And then for me, it's just like, unfortunately, my first impression of the show was that it was stupid. I just didn't give it another chance. It not only did it ruin that show for me, it ruined the whole freaking channel for me.
I can't believe
I don't know,
that's how
I
you
think
saw
it's really.
Nickelodeon.
That's actually.
I think the writing is really intelligent in SpongeBob, and even like the older episodes of the Fairly Odd Parents and stuff. I can't really explain it though. I feel like this thing still happens to me. Like Adriana tried watching some of The Simpsons because I just put it on one day and she thought it was so dumb, and I was like, "What? The show is genius! It's literally golden television." So I don't know. Maybe
Yellow television.
Hey,
I think the jokes are really witty, right? But I can see how others are like, this is incredibly stupid. Like these characters are just like complete idiots, because they are. But it's the situations that are intelligent,
True.
That's my argument.
I don't know if the rest of you agree with this, but I always thought that Disney Channel's cartoon lineup was much weaker than Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network's.
What was their cartoon lineup besides Phineas and Ferb?
And that even Phineas and Ferb was like later.
I feel like early
like
on
Phineas and Ferb came out when we were, I think, in middle school. Like that was much later
for
on.
Disney. For me, early on, it was American Dragon, Jake Long.
That was probably the only one I could.
That was
say
one of my
good.
favorite Disney
I
cartoons.
like Kim Possible.
Oh, Kim
And
Possible
Kim
was also.
Oh yeah, Kim Possible.
Wait, that was our OE group.
Yeah, I mean, multiple reasons there, but like, the thing that threw me off about Disney Channel was when they wouldn't put a cartoon on, they put like a live.
Yeah, there's a bunch of live action on Disney.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, what? It was like once those started kind of becoming more frequent, and to your point, I don't remember what too many of the cartoons that Disney
Right.
Channel had, but once those live action ones started taking up more and more time slots, I kind of wrote off Disney Channel as well, in the same way I wrote off Nickelodeon, saying, I'm here for cartoons. I don't want to watch like these people say
Actual
things,
people.
and then just random people that I don't see on screen laughing in the background at things that aren't even funny. It's like, what is it?
The laugh tracks.
He's like, what?
It's just like, why? Like, what's funny?
That's funny.
So do you think that was Disney trying to go for more like doing what Teen Nick did? Like live action was directed towards like
I think
older
so,
kids and
well,
teenagers.
I always felt like Disney Channel always had they were more focused on live action. I
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really good at producing child
Yeah.
stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed a lot of those live action shows. That's So Raven, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
I constantly hear about The Sweet Life. Yeah.
You've never watched it, I'm assuming.
I've watched a few episodes.
Okay.
Not
I
of my own free will.
feel
no,
like
but-
that's just what I don't know why, but it just seemed like they were focused more on the live action.
Do you guys think that's actually like for older children, or like
I don't think so. That's
don't
why I
think
don't
so
want to say
either.
Teen Nick. I don't think That's So Raven or Sweet Life are like targeted
they're
towards
still targeted towards, I think, sort of the same age
kids.
group as like
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
What was
Oh,
the-
Proud Family. That's another cartoon I almost forgot from Disney.
On
Channel.
Disney, right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Wait, I think I know why I didn't like the live action thing, because they can't do slapstick.
There we go.
I don't know
They
about
can't
that.
literally throw pies. Like, there was just a bunch of like, he says this, and then there's a laugh track, and then I was just like, "Ugh." But as I think about it more, it's coming back to me. I actually really love Disney Channel for the movies in the evening. So like, they would
Like
just
the
have,
Halloween Town High, those movies when they have.
Wait, when
like,
you say
those,
movies, do you mean like the film movies, or are you talking about the Disney Channel movies?
just the films, like
Okay.
in the evenings, right? Like, I would look, like, pop the TV open, like in the afternoon. I'd be like, what are they going to play this evening, right? They'd have a little preview, and I'd be like, oh, that looks like a cool movie. Oh, I'm just going to like plan ahead to watch for 2 hours in the evening. Or it'd be some movie that I didn't really like, and then I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that. But like, that was like a big part of what I watched on Disney Channel.
All right, Melis, you're up.
This is hard. Oh, I guess I've talked about and I've been on record of saying this, that I think Avatar is the best. Avatar: The Last Airbender is the
Yeah,
best.
there's the
cartoon.
easy answer.
But I actually, since Uche allowed anime, I want to talk about. I'm gonna talk about Naruto.
Oh,
I'm
Oh.
gonna talk about Naruto. Something that's very close to my heart. I don't remember when I first started watching it. It was probably middle school. Yeah, most likely middle school, early middle school, maybe like. Wait, no, not middle school. It was definitely elementary school. Yeah, late elementary school.
where did you watch it?
So
Was there a
it came
channel?
on. So Cartoon Network had this thing, and I think it came back. They
Yeah.
have this thing called Toonami,
Toonami, dude.
and it's
That was-
basically so it would come on like
was
later at
bonkers.
nights, like maybe before Adult Swim, because Adult Swim was usually really late at night, and Toonami came on before Adult Swim. And actually, I think Naruto came on Adult Swim first before they had Toonami. But anyway, Naruto would come on really late at night, and that's when they would show all the other like different animes and stuff, like your Dragon Ball Z and Bleach, and
Mhm.
so yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first. Well, that was the first show I watched that I recognized as anime. For me, obviously, I watched Pokemon before that. Didn't know it was an anime. Just thought it was a cartoon. Watched Yu-Gi-Oh before that. Thought it was just a cartoon. Apparently, it was also anime. But yeah, I felt like the story of Naruto was very different than like cartoons I'd ever seen. I feel like a lot of anime tends to do that. That the story was very. It's not like. Well, let's see. Like the characters aren't very basic. They're not black and white. That's one thing I really liked about the show. I felt like the characters were very unique, and They weren't very basic. You know, there wasn't just they weren't like these kind of, the hero wasn't, well, what am I trying to say? Like the villains, the heroes and villains weren't just like basic, you know, heroes
Yeah,
weren't like your
yeah.
basic Superman, and villains weren't like, oh, this is the Joker. They were very interesting. They had a lot of backstory, and you know, sometimes you felt yourself rooting for the villain, and sometimes the villain would like actually end up, you know, teaming up with the good guy, or like, you know, they have this terrible tragedy like happen in their past, and you feel bad for them, man.
I feel like you have someone in mind here, like, you know.
And I feel like
someone you're
Naruto did
alluding
that a
to.
lot. Like almost every villain that they encounter, like you find out they have this tragic backstory, and it just, you know, makes you feel bad. And I feel like the show made you think a lot more, like about people, you know, about
Oh,
their
wow.
backgrounds and kind of considering their perspectives.
What was Snake Man's tragic backstory?
Oh yeah, okay. Orochimaru doesn't. Oh well, I mean, his parents were killed. Like he was orphaned.
What
Like,
was
What?
Snake Man's backstory?
I just thought he was a snake, like through and through. Like,
He was
Yeah.
just a
No, he
snake
was.
in human,
but, I mean,
human
he
form.
was orphaned pretty early on. But
but I
Yeah,
made a comment
yeah.
earlier about like character sophistication. That is something I feel like is a hallmark of anime versus cartoons, because I feel like cartoons they really stick to the episodic plot style. Right? Like
yeah,
it's the same characters, similar situation, but like, you know, it's not necessarily continuous,
Mhm.
right? Whereas like in those, it's Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, right? Like Pokemon's actually less, right? Like it's almost like each one could have existed in its own kind of
yeah,
individual sense. But like Yu-Gi-Oh is one, Naruto is one where it's like it's long arcs and it's like continuous, and that's also kind of like Avatar, right? Like
right,
at least book 2 and onwards. I think book 1 there was a lot of just random
random stuff.
snippets, right? But whereas you look at Kids Next Door, right? Like characters will develop, right, over time, but it'll just kind of be like one episode, like, oh, this guy learned a new skill, and then like going forward, he has that skill, but it's not like one continuous plot often. I think the same
Sure.
could be said for SpongeBob or was it The Simpsons, right? Like it's like the same characters. You learn more and more about the characters, and the characters might change over time. It's really not about the one long plot or arc.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely something I appreciated about the show too. You know, it had this robust story that dragged on for a while, but
Yeah, did you watch it all? Like all the filler and everything?
I did. Wait, did I watch all? I might have skipped a few fillers, but I think I watched almost all of it.
So does the
But-
filler contribute to this, like, I guess it
Some
doesn't
filler
contribute to the
can
story.
contribute to like I guess
Character development.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There was a point where like where it's much later in the show where some of the fillers are just like, this just looks stupid, and I just want to get back to the main story, because a lot of the times they put these fillers in the middle of a very like epic like story arc where it's like it's a
Yeah.
huge cliffhanger, and then we gotta take a little break with some fillers.
Okay.
A little 10-episode break, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing
And I'm
happened.
like, I don't want to watch this crap. I want to know what happens next.
I
And you're
see.
waiting 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's actually insane.
Yeah.
It's like 3 months of a break.
Yeah,
Like,
that stuff gets a little
10 episodes
much.
doesn't sound like much, but each one's a week. That's the crazy part.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember like, I mean, you know, before, you know, streaming was so big, you know, I just had to wait for it every week to come on
Mhm.
TV.
Well,
Every
isn't that
week
better
it's a
than
filler.
like shows that like come at like 10 episodes for a time, and then when the show ends or when the season ends, you gotta wait like almost a whole year for the next season to come out?
I don't
I think,
know,
like,
because
Game of
was
Thrones and
it
stuff like
was it
that.
always that? Did Naruto? Oh, yeah, I think Naruto did usually have a pretty consistent like
Like
release
season
of episodes.
schedule, right?
Yeah, like there's usually like I could always expect, okay, every Saturday there's gonna be a new episode. Maybe sometimes there's a couple week break, maybe some fillers here and there, but it was pretty regular. So
Yeah.
I guess I did like that more than the whole like, you know, I guess Netflix, strategy. Oh, let's release these 10 episodes, and you gotta wait 2 years for the
Yeah.
next arc.
2 years. Yeah.
But yeah, and I think for me, Naruto was like the gateway into like anime. I started discovering a lot more. Of course, I bought the Naruto fighting games that were on my
PlayStation.
GameCube. First on my GameCube,
Mm.
I had
Wait,
Naruto,
they had
Clash
Naruto
of
on the
Ninja
GameCube?
2. They did.
Wow.
Clash of Ninja 2, I remember that. And then Naruto Ultimate Ninja 3 on the PlayStation 2. I played that game for so long, like from middle school, like up until high school. Actually, up until college. Because a few of my friends will still play the game. Like they'd come over, and then we just like hash it out on Naruto Ultimate Ninja 3. While other people were off playing, the PS3 and PS4 versions, we were too broke to get that, so we were still playing on the PS2.
That's funny. That is funny.
So when I think, so you said this is like your gateway into anime.
Yeah.
Like when I think anime, the first thing that I think of is Studio Ghibli. So I was just wondering if you like have watched any of those movies or were like into that at all.
The only one I ever saw was like when I was younger, at least, was why am I spacing out on the name? I actually just rewatched it like a month ago.
Spirited Away.
Yes, Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Yes, oh my gosh, that creeped me out. I mean, I didn't really know about Studio. How do you pronounce it? Is it Ghibli or Ghibli?
Ghibli.
I don't know what the correct one is. I mean, I say
Okay.
Ghibli, but
Ghibli.
It's French.
Ghibli. Okay. I mean, I didn't know it was part of this whole like Studio Ghibli, like I guess franchise or group of movies. It was just something that came on Cartoon Network. I'm like, okay, let me watch this. Creep the crap out of me. It probably wasn't until later where like, yo, this movie's actually pretty good. I mean, I didn't think it was bad then. It was just something that kind of creeped me out. Yeah. I rewatched it like last month because they have all the Studio Ghibli movies on HBO Max. So
they do.
yeah. So yeah, I'd watched it, and I was planning on watching some of the other ones too. I just hadn't had the chance to do it.
Yeah, no, Major and I have been watching some of the Studio Ghibli movies. And there's some good ones. There's some, yeah, it's definitely, I feel like they're called anime, but it's very different vibes from the,
Yeah, I don't know if, I wasn't sure if, is it, I've never known if that's classified as anime. I don't.
Is it just anime if it's Japanese? Is that it? Or is there any other sort of like?
I'm not 100%. I'm pretty sure that's the definition.
Yeah, okay. Well, then
I feel like there's some more to it, but
I mean, there's Chinese anime, right?
Oh.
I don't know if that's the term they use.
What do you think what would you call it then?
Chinese. I don't know.
Cartoons?
Because I don't call Avatar: The Last Airbender American anime, but people say that it's heavily influenced. Like even the writers have said, I mean, the show itself is heavily influenced by anime, but they don't call it that.
Okay.
Back when I was in China, they have a, it's literally translated as like juvenile channel, like
Well,
and they had, when I watched it, there was mostly what I would call cartoons.
Mhm.
Just because I think it's the art style really. Like the reason why I call Kids Next Door a cartoon for sure is because of Nigel's head. Like number one's head looks like a football. Like it's not meant to like look
like a human.
Yeah, it's like you understand it's some kind of abstraction, right? So I would have classified the Chinese stuff as that. I have not seen anything as of late. So if you're talking about something like, I don't know, maybe like a Chinese Naruto or something like that, like I guess. I just feel like because anime is an English word, right? Like I don't think that the whatever Chinese media is out there in that same vein has really caught on over here. So like there's no term one way or another, even if it's similar or different. It's just kind of like it's the foreign thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I was very, very into Naruto. I think I mentioned last time we were talking about, was it the episode of childhood games? Like we'd be in the playground and, me and my friends would play Ninja, and we'd mimic all the little hand signs. Well, I just remember I don't have a camera. You can't see me faking hand signs. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, we'd mimic the hand signs because of course we'd go on like Google and search up, yo, how do I do fireball jitsu?
That's funny.
Then we'd memorize it and then go to a playground and you're like fireball jitsu and just like blow air and pretend like fireballs are coming out.
I can 100% imagine Melis doing this. I can just
Me
picture
too,
it.
me too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The
and
main
then,
thing from that description you just gave there, like you search up online, like it's much more vivid in my mind because I just realized that back then you don't have smartphones. Like you literally have to do your homework the night before, prepare and memorize everything because you can't look it up on the spot, right? It's like,
Yep.
okay, I'm gonna do this sequence and like roast that guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like you do your homework beforehand. Then
Yep.
you show up prepared.
And then I remember like learning how to like make little paper shurikens. That was a thing. We'd always make paper shurikens, toss them at each other.
That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shut
And then
off,
at bookstores, I'd always go for the Shonen Jumps. I don't know if all you're familiar with Shonen Jump, but it was like a kind of like a magazine of like manga. Yeah, so it had all the different mangas, and a lot of the times like it'd be like, oh, yo, let me go all the way to Naruto, start reading it up. And sometimes in there it would have like, oh, this is how you do. I remember like one of the ones I had like had one of the showed you the signs for one of the jutsus for the show. And like another one I had actually in the back, it had the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon taped to the back. So that's how I got that card.
So you just took it.
No, I bought the book. I did not buy the book and take it. I'm not a jerk. What? That'd be terrible.
Yeah, me neither.
Say?
What? I would never do something like that. That's crazy. I don't see why you're pointing fingers.
Why don't you play more Denji in Overwatch?
Anji. He's not a true ninja.
Yeah, I guess I'm not a ninja anymore. That's it. I've retired.
True.
Oh, making me want to watch Naruto, but
Naruto.
that might be a little bit more of a commitment than I.
It's not as much of a commitment as some other anime, like One Piece. I will. If you say you're gonna watch One Piece from the start, I will advise you against it.
I stopped watching One Piece after they stopped dubbing it, which is at 579. I stopped watching it.
Wow, 579.
Yeah, they're like I'm pretty sure they hit the 1,000 mark already.
I think they're at 9 something, very close to 1,000.
Close, okay.
But yeah.
Oh, so you
stopped watching.
No, so I guess are you a dub or a sub kind of guy?
Don't ask him that question.
Sub. I mean, obviously, when I was growing up, I mean, when they showed it on Cartoon Network, it was in dubbed.
Yeah.
I actually don't remember when I started watching it in subbed. I remember. I think I do remember a friend telling me, "Oh, hey, you can keep watching episodes." But it's going to be in Japanese. And I feel like I was against that. I was like, what, Japanese? I don't speak Japanese. How am I going to understand what they're saying? What? And he's like, they have subtitles. What? I have to read?
That's what I said.
But then I watched it. And then like after the first couple episodes, I don't know when it clicked, but at some point I'm like, yo, this sounds so much cooler. It just sounds so much more serious. And like, I feel like, anytime I go back and watch anime and it's in English, it just sounds corny. Which I guess, like, I mean, some people would find it corny. I mean, it is, some of anime is still kind of like geared towards like younger crowds. But I guess since I don't speak Japanese, or just the way it sounds, it just sounds better. Whereas when I watch now, if I watch Naruto in English, I'm like, wow, this sounds really corny, and I don't know, it just doesn't give me the same effect.
Okay. Uche, you're a dub guy.
I mean, I watch anything.
Sub?
Not specific. Yeah, sub, dubbed. It depends on which one's out. Kind
You
of.
just said you stopped watching One Piece though because it was no.
Oh yeah,
longer
but
dubbed.
I also stopped watching One Piece because I got tired of watching One Piece. Like after the dubbed was over, I didn't want to put effort into reading it because there's a lot of it.
Yeah, the story has been dragging on for quite a while.
Yeah, it definitely has a lot of those 10-episode fight scenes for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of those.
10 episodes.
It's like a punch
Oh, it's
that'll
more of a
last
twin-
2
it's a-
episodes.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff gives me headaches. Not a fan, but
Do you like watch TV and like do other stuff too, right? Like,
who?
You, Uche?
I watch TV.
Like I was told that you just like consume all this media sort of at once. So
Oh
maybe you
yeah, I
have, like,
do.
a couple TV shows going on, and then you're playing the video game. and
I
then-
mean,
and you're watching a
sometimes yes.
stream.
I mean, right now I have two monitors. I'm in this like I'm engaging, but I'm also watching someone play Overwatch. Technically, I'm here, but not really. And I'm paying attention to my fantasy team on my phone. So I gotta keep the hopes alive for the peoples.
Okay.
I consume a lot of media, if that's what you're asking. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, any other TV show shout outs?
Oh, some honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Jimmy Neutron.
Jimmy Neutron.
Shout,
Okay.
Oh, American Dragon Jake Long was one of the good ones for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Jimmy
Then
Neutron
the
has
new
such,
animation
like,
style,
I feel like unique animation style.
Which
Jimmy
one?
Neutron.
like the 3D kind of
Jimmy
animation
Neutron.
style.
Yes, that was.
Because like at least
Unique.
all the shows that we've mentioned have been 2D, right? I guess Jimmy
Yes.
Yeah.
Neutron is not. And like
I remember reading that each episode of Jimmy Neutron took a year to a year and a half to make because it was all in 3D.
Really?
It's like a super difficult show to actually produce.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I-
obviously
a
they
year
were
to a
doing
year
multiple
now.
episodes at a time, like simultaneously, but they would start making the episode a year to a year and a half before it aired. Was released in the
That's
season.
crazy.
That is crazy. Also a
Hmm.
good show. Also a good show. What a. Now, you already mentioned Shaolin Showdown. That was a really good one.
something that's sort of late in the game for me. I liked Curious George. I don't know. I was reminded of it when Uche said PBS. That was like the one.
Yeah.
PBS had some good shows, right? Dora, Arthur.
Oh, shit,
Dora
I
was a
did watch
Nickelodeon show.
Dora. Oh my god. I
Ah.
totally
Yeah,
forgot.
Dora was
Dora.
Nickelodeon.
Was Dora early morning?
Was Dora not on PBS,
Was it-
or am I tripping?
No,
I think you're tripping. Dora was Nickelodeon.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
was Dora Saturday morning Nickelodeon?
I
I
think
don't
so.
remember.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think by the time Dora started airing, or maybe I was just late to it, like I was already older and I was watching what I thought were more interesting shows.
And I think I also watched.
like the Little Einsteins, right?
What about like Scooby Doo?
Scooby Doo was a good one. I always
I
watched
was
that.
actually never a big fan of Scooby.
Are you talking about the old Scooby-Doo?
Any of it?
But
for
the
me.
one that came on regularly.
Yeah, he's
that
talking
one
about the
I
old
watched.
one. I think he's talking
Yeah.
about the old
I
one.
think it's the old one. Yeah.
Um,
Where did that come on?
that was Cartoon Network.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always
other-
wondered what a Scooby snack tasted like.
Probably like a regular
I'm
graham
pretty
cracker.
sure they sell
Same.
them.
No,
I don't-
of any cartoon foods I've ever wanted to eat, Krabby Patty.
True.
Okay. People literally are like, they fight each other for that. All right. That thing was delicious.
The episode where Squidward revealed that he's never had one before, and then
He just
it, all-
engulfs all of them.
it goes straight to his thighs.
And then you blow up.
How many? He emptied out the whole vault.
That's
Now that I'm
crazy.
thinking about it, all those were in a vault that had like, it didn't look like there was any kind of refrigeration.
It's underwater. It's all preserved. It's fine.
At
At that point, you gotta ask, how do you grill a burger underwater? I don't know.
True.
Okay, I'm gonna list off some honorable mentions.
for it.
Rugrats.
Oh wow.
I think I said Hey Arnold before. That was a good show.
Rugrats was a decent one.
I can't remember.
Rocco's
watching
Modern
those.
Life.
Don't
I was,
remember
not, I
that.
was not a fan of that. That was on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, that was Nickelodeon.
I don't
Cat
remember
Dog.
that.
Oh, I did like Cat Dog. I like.
I remember
That
Cat
was
Dog,
a good
yeah.
one.
The dad on the Wild Thornberry is one of the best characters on TV.
Oh, the wild
Just
Thornberry.
ever.
Yeah, he reminds me of like an adult
Ah.
Sheen. Like Shane
Yeah.
from Jimmy Neutron. If he grows up, like he becomes.
You say Shane?
No, Sheen.
Oh,
from Jimmy
Sheen.
His name is
Neutron.
Sheen.
Their head shapes are just the same. That's
Carl and Sheen. Those were the names, right? Carl and Sheen, his best friends.
Yeah, Carl
Yeah.
Weezer.
And Sheen.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
then-
remember Sheen when he got the massive brain. Those
Yeah.
those episodes.
And he had like
Oh,
a-
that-
Yeah.
And he was like
he
the
also had
bad
like a
guy.
flirty relationship with that blonde chick.
Yeah.
Cindy.
What was her name again?
Cindy.
Yeah.
Cindy.
Yeah, it was Cindy.
Yo, y'all remember the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour? That was lit.
Those were all like when they
the
like
world, when two worlds
intertwined like
combined.
like cartoon styles too. Those
Yeah.
were
It was like a
dope.
big deal. It was a
Jimmy
big
went
deal.
over to the Fairly Odd Parents world, and he was 2D, and then Timmy would come over to the Jimmy Neutron
was
world, and he was 3D.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Actually, I think Fairly Odd Parents is pretty high for me. Like,
Yeah.
Fairly
Oh,
Odd
I
was-
definitely loved Fairly Odd Parents. That was.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
Mr. Mr.
I'm trying to
Funny.
remember what my favorite episodes were. Like there was one where they had to like go into the internet.
Yeah,
I think that was a
That one was
movie.
really cool.
Or it was a
it?
special. I think it was a 1 hour
The internet
special.
one was good.
That was also one of my
Really?
favorites.
I
There
thought
were
it was
some-
just a standard episode.
I also really liked it because they made some they definitely made references to other shows. Like I remember where they're in this Coliseum. It was definitely a Dragon Ball Z reference because they like had these muscles and like ridiculous spiky hair, and
Oh,
they're
yeah,
shooting
yeah,
off
yeah.
blasts that look
I
like
remember that one.
Kamehameha.
Yeah.
So like major themes in that show were like he had to like hide his Fairly Odd Parents, right? Like a bunch of these kids have Fairly Odd Parents, but like they can't be revealed to everybody. So they're always sort of like eluding, the parents and the babysitters and all that. Right?
And you have to be depressed to have the Fairly Odd Parents,
Vicky.
basically.
yeah, I remember the guy who sings about his teeth. Melis and I have
Shiny
My
teeth
shiny
and
teeth and
teeth.
me.
Sky Clark, Jimmy Clark, Sky Clark,
Chip
Chip
Skylark.
Skylark.
Chip Skylark.
What a name!
That's part
Doug
of the world,
Dimmadome.
just like the
Doug
stars in space.
Order of the
Dimsdale
Dimsdale Dimmadome. Oh my
Oh,
god!
So good. So good.
And what was the science guy, the professor's name?
Professor.
Du-
Who?
It's not Doofenshmirtz, but the guy with the hump neck.
Oh, well, that's
Oh,
for Phineas
oh,
and Ferb.
Mr. What was his name?
I don't even remember. his name.
Cracker.
I
Yeah.
just Mr. Crocker. He was a
Crocker.
teacher.
Crocker.
I don't think he was a science. He was just like
It was just
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think he was
Just
just
a
just a school teacher.
Why did
Yeah.
I think he wore like a science?
like this pale, crusty dude with an ear on his neck, right?
Yeah, Mr. Crocker. Dude.
I don't remember that.
What, the ear on his
Wow.
neck?
Wait, he does
Yeah.
have an ear in his neck.
If you look him up, dude, yeah, it's crazy.
It's
His
literally
ear
on
is,
his
like, right here.
That sounds nasty.
So
Yeah,
do you guys? do
Danny
you guys have
Phantom was
any-
dope. Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom was good, and that was a spin-off of. That was the same people as the Fairly Odd Parents, right? The same.
Yeah, it was him. Well, what was his name? I actually wait, no, Dan Butchman, was it that?
Oh yeah.
Butch Hanneman.
Oh, there we go. Maybe.
Butch-
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's Butch Hanneman. I'm pretty sure.
That was another reason. Well, yeah, I guess Danny Phantom kind of. I didn't really
Butch
have much of a
Hartman.
story
Sorry.
arc.
Lol. This is
But yeah,
Butch
I think my favorite part of Nickelodeon was each show. A lot of the shows had just these characters who were just so stupid, but so memorable, right?
Yep.
Like, yeah,
Patrick Star, I think, is
The thumb.
Patrick,
is
He
the
reminds me of a
bottom
very,
of that.
very fleshy thumb.
and then Jimmy Neutron's dad. Who was like obsessed with ducks.
Oh god, that was so weird.
Oh, that's true.
What a weirdo.
Yeah, the parents in those shows are very interesting.
Yeah, they always made them
Definitely.
really weird.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have any like adult cartoons that you've enjoyed?
Adult cartoons.
No.
I'm guessing you're talking about. Are you
Like
talking
Adult
about like
Swim,
Rick
Family
and
Guy?
Morty.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like adult
Yeah, Rick and
cartoons.
Morty.
No,
But
like
yeah,
well,
okay.
Yeah, so at least when I was growing up, I think this is probably more of a parent thing. Like, I don't know. I think my mom was like, "Hey, don't watch like these types of shows, like the Simpsons and like the like Family Guy." Like they definitely were like, "No, you can't watch this." I'm like, "Okay." So I actually never watched it growing up, like, which was weird because a lot of my friends were like, "What? Oh, yo, did you see this episode of Family Guy with this?" I'm like, "I don't know what y'all are talking about."
you weren't missing out on much. Family Guy isn't as good as everyone thought it was. It's my hot take.
But yeah, growing up, I definitely didn't watch adult like cartoons. Like that's what you're thinking. I mean,
Well, I'm asking,
yeah,
like, even
Naruto's
today,
a pretty. I don't know if I call it an adult cartoon, but it's definitely not. I don't think I would say it's for children. I mean, there's some violence and. It can be a kind of, I would call it
Violence
gory.
is okay. We all watch Tom and Jerry.
But Tom and Jerry never showed blood though, you know?
Yeah, blood is where they draw the line.
Yeah, blood is where they draw the line. I think a lot of shows, and Naruto definitely got bloody a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, yeah, like Kevin was saying, Rick and Morty is the recent example, I guess, of an adult.
Yeah,
I haven't gotten into it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't tried really.
Are there any shows that are like it? It's like
I enjoy Rick and
it's
Morty.
very creative. Kevin, have you seen it?
Yes, I tried watching season 4, but was unable to.
Why not?
Well, I think the
Well-
only main, like, I guess the most legal way to watch it is on Adult Swim, and you have to have some kind of subscription,
Cable.
I believe.
Yeah, so I watched it all while I was at Rice, and like, I think somehow the access was linked, but like, I'm not sure. I didn't try too hard because like, I didn't treat it as kind of like, oh, I have to watch it. I just kind of like, oh yeah, that episode was entertaining. I have another 20 minutes. I'll go watch one. Right? It was kind of a very loose relationship. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta like watch this regularly. Like, you know, I had moved past that kind of regularly timed television programming phase of my life.
Mhm.
Not that it ever existed much to begin with. It was always lower on the totem pole, so to speak.
So what do you like about the show? Do you like it? You said it was entertaining enough to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, what do I like about it?
Would you recommend it to Justin?
Would I recommend it to Justin?
Yeah.
I think Justin's gonna have a very extreme reaction one way or another. He's either gonna find it to be extremely clever and appreciate it a lot, or he's gonna say, yeah, not my thing, and just
Yeah.
be like,
The one word I've used to describe the show is irreverent. I feel
Wow.
like
I need you to dumb that down, please.
Yeah, please.
it's just like they show such like explicitly offensive things.
Nonchalantly.
Yeah. It's just like,
Okay.
oh, we're gonna like some of the things are just so disgusting.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're showing me this.
I might enjoy it. I might enjoy that.
Yeah, I think you would like it, Justin. I'd recommend
Yeah,
it.
I like a reverent humor. I would probably get into it.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm dedicated to The Simpsons. I'm
That's
really
a-
enjoying watching it.
Oh, that's a lot of TV.
That is a lot of TV.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going
started
slowly.
watching. I think I got through seasons 1 through 3 of The Simpsons because I was watching
Really?
on Disney Plus. Yeah. Then I lost interest. I feel like to me it felt like it was getting repetitive and yeah.
No,
it just
I
wasn't-
think it's been great so far. I think each episode they develop the characters more, and I mean obviously each episode is its own like scenario, right? So it's like
Right.
not a continuous thing, but I don't know. I think it's really witty and kind of subtle. It's not like I feel like Family Guy is super over the top, right?
Mhm.
And when we were growing up, that was like what everyone was into, I guess. But
Yeah, I feel like it was a popular
Yeah.
thing to like. Family Guy.
Yeah, actually, when Kevin was talking about Tom and Jerry, it reminded me of the Simpsons like version of it because in the Simpsons, like the kids watch
Itchy and
the show
Scratchy.
Itchy and
Oh,
Scratchy.
Itchy and Scratchy.
that shit is
And it's-
disgusting.
Yeah, and it's like it's basically their version of Tom and Jerry in their world, except it's more over the top and probably just a little more inappropriate.
A little more. It's straight gory. Like, they show blood and guts. So
I don't know about
So
a little
gross.
more.
Yeah, maybe a lot more.
But yeah, they
There's
even have
also
an
some
entire
episodes-
episode. They have an
Yes.
entire episode about like how kids are being influenced by how violent the TV is, and
Yep.
the mom's all organized to stop it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Any other shows? Or
Nah, fam.
closing thoughts?
So do you think cartoons have influenced your sense of humor?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, I watch so much TV. I don't know what about my sense of humor. I can't say.
I also feel like there are things where like senses of humor that I've got. Well, I don't know where I got from, but I'll go back and watch these shows and like pick up stuff that I didn't notice before. And I'm like, oh, this is I never caught this before. That was really funny. And the show I'm thinking of in particular is SpongeBob. I feel like when I was younger and I watched it, it was more of the like, I guess the more slapstick nature of it. And then I go back and like watch it when I'm like in high school and I'm like, oh wait, I never noticed that. Or like, you know, they say some kind of pun or they say some kind of like, you know, dumb like or some kind of like witty joke that I probably wouldn't have picked up when I was younger. And I'm like, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I've noticed.
Well, I
that
can
too.
appreciate it in a whole different way.
Yeah. Do you think watching so much TV, Osmond, was bad for your childhood or good?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Did your parents have concerns about you watching so much
A little
TV?
bit. They express it sometimes. They'd be like, "Yeah, he watches a little too much TV." I don't know. Like, I think maybe, like, I don't know. I didn't like. I feel like I didn't go like out and play sports very much, so maybe that stunted my development on that regard.
Same.
Same.
So like, you know, that's not a good thing. I'd like to be like a little bit better at sports and stuff.
Nah, I don't care.
But,
Yeah,
At our house, TV was okay as long as it was the Discovery Channel.
I guess Discovery
Just
Channel
tell your
was
parents,
actually
hey,
good
I'm
back then."
discovering cartoons.
There was a phase where it was good. I remember
Yeah.
there was then just one day they said we're gonna make a big change, and
We're
then,
just going to show ancient aliens 24/7.
and then I started. Then
Discovery
it just
Channel.
was bad, so I just stopped watching TV because still cartoons were like minimized cartoon watching. So
Actually, in my house, I wasn't allowed to watch TV during the weekdays. Like, I couldn't watch TV until Friday and the weekend. I don't remember when the rule was instituted, but it's about sometime in like elementary school. Where it's like, all right, listen, you can't watch TV on the weekdays because it's distracting you from doing your homework and stuff. Like, oh, which
So
I guess
when-
was fine because a lot of the, there are a lot of the cartoons or the new episodes would come out on like Fridays and Saturdays. But I feel like there were other cartoons where like, I don't know, new episodes would come out during the weekday, and it's just like, oh, well, I guess I can't watch it. I have to catch the rerun.
So when you have kids, do you think you're going to have similar restrictions, or is like the internet and YouTube and gaming now like the more serious concern? Because I feel like people don't talk about kids watching TV much these days. It's more.
I mean,
about,
it's more about the
apps
streaming, right?
yeah, streaming.
I don't know. I felt like
Fortnite.
maybe I did watch. I felt like I might have watched too much TV. Yeah, maybe I could have picked up some. I don't know, more interesting.
Could have been more of an
hobbies.
intellectual.
sounds like a good
read a
topic for
book.
next episode. Honestly, like
Could be,
what,
yeah.
Well,
what
I mean, it
prohibitions
is-
do you plan on carrying forward for the next generation?
Yeah, no, it is something I've thought about, and me and Adrian have talked about. Is like what's an appropriate amount of like computer time or screen time? Is it bad for kids? I don't know. I don't have a clear answer. I don't really know which way.
Would
I
you
lean.
want your kids to have access to the internet like early on in their childhood? Like when they don't
I mean-
like elementary school, because kids don't need internet to like learn stuff that early, right?
I don't know,
I mean,
man. Like these
in
days, there's a
COVID
lot of
days.
like online.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're not gonna have a
yeah.
kid in the next two years, are you?
Yeah, but I feel like these changes in
It's
schooling
making
are
it
going to
more
stick.
norm.
Some of them are going to stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
I don't know. Sometimes I go to restaurants and I see kids like sucked into their iPads, and I'm like, oh, that seems kind of
Yeah,
sad.
I mean, like young kids too. I think
Yeah.
like preschool kids, like these are like 4 or 5 years old, and they're already like fluent with their like iPhones and iPads and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of it is I don't know if the correct term is saying parenting tactic, but it's basically a way to distract them, right? So they're not making noise and screaming. Is it good? Is it bad? Find out on the next episode of the forum.
I do think that
That's
was
a good future topic.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. Well, I think let's we'll wrap it up there then.
All right.
All right.